What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Today we are doing the Toronto Maple Leafs 2024-2025 season previews, and we're starting with Max Domi. So if you guys are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe, join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. We're talking Leafs all season, all year long, 24/7 here on the Andrew Piluk Hockey channel. So let's get into it, man. Let's have some fun. I love talking Leafs with you guys, so stick around. But yeah, Max Domi, man. We got to start with Max. We're going through the whole roster. And Max Domi has been one of the most discussed Maple Leafs over the last couple years, because this is a guy that wanted to be a Leaf for so long. Kyle Dubas didn't want him while Kyle Dubas was the GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he finally got a chance to come here and play for the team that he grew up watching and the team that he grew up idolizing, because his father, of course, Ty Domi, who was one of my personal favorite players when I was a kid. Man, it's just a crazy story. But if we look at Max, 29 years old, so he still fits in the window of what the team age range is kind of going with right now. And if we look at his numbers, he's had some up and down seasons, and he's a guy that was a highly touted draft choice when he entered the NHL. Now, he kind of got his career back on track with Chicago when he had 49 points in 60 games, went to Dallas, played decent in the regular season, played pretty well in the playoffs for them as well. He had 7 points in 20 games for them, but that was a deep Dallas team. He played like almost a secondary role with that squad. But then he came to Toronto, and in 80 games last year, 47 points in 80 games. He did a lot of really good things for this team. He got in plenty of fights, as you can see, some penalty minutes time there. But if you look at his average ice time, 13 minutes and 47 seconds was kind of the average that he played, and that's down from his monster year in Chicago. And by monster year, I just mean like the goal totals and stuff like that. But he was playing a lot more. So I'm wondering if this year the Maple Leafs utilize him again, playing with Austin Matthews. And I really want this to happen, and I hope a lot of people agree with me, because Max and Austin had a really good chemistry going. They literally looked really good together. And Domi is a playmaker. That guy can feed the puck to anybody, and I think that's an underrated part of his game. You look at the assist totals. He had 38 assists last year with the Maple Leafs, and this was after a really slow start. Like, he started off pretty slow, then he started playing with some of the better players, some of the guys that could finish when he passes them the puck. And then he also spent some time with Nick Robertson, who he also had a lot of really good chemistry with. So I'm wondering if Nick Robertson re-signs, if that's something that they would like to revisit on like the third line, and that way they can stretch out the scoring a little bit. But I would really like to see the Maple Leafs utilize Max Domi again with Austin Matthews. I think it worked really well. But if we're going to talk about Domi, we also have to talk about his contract. And this is the contract that he signed in the offseason, $3.75 million. He's in year one of the contract, and he'll be a UFA when he's 33 years old. And he's the type of guy I could see signing for like a very cheap, like league min type of deal. Even if he's not playing the greatest, the Maple Leafs will probably hold on to him, because unfortunately, who knows when the window will be closed for this Maple Leafs team by 2028. Who knows what's going to happen. But Domi's contract is really reasonable. And I know a lot of people didn't like it when it came out, but this is the going rate for guys that kind of does what Domi does in that 45 to 50 point range per season. You're more than likely going to get a guy that's coming in at a $3 or $4 million cap hit and anywhere in between. So I've never disliked this contract. I think that this is going to work out pretty well for the Leafs, and especially if he can play with Austin Matthews again, they can rekindle that chemistry. I think it worked really well. I'd love to see it happen again. So we'll have to see what the Maple Leafs decide on that front. But I love Max. I think the way that he plays, the way that he defends his teammates, it's something that the Maple Leafs need more of. And you've seen over the last few years, the Maple Leafs are really focusing on trying to bring in guys that, of course, can score goals and put up points, but also guys that can back it up with their fists. They want guys that can fight. They want guys that are good in the corners. They want guys that are going to go out there and talk a little bit of that ish, if you know what I'm saying. So I definitely think Max Domi is a piece that this team needs. And if we're looking at daily face-off, the lines that they believe could start the season, and of course there could be some moves still before the season starts, Max Domi is projected to be on that third line. I think that the Maple Leafs should start with Nylander on the first line, with Domi on the first line, and then have Nyes on that second line with Marner and Tavares, and move McMahon down to the third line. I don't want to see Domi playing on the third line if it's with like a defensively sound line, but if they can somehow maybe re-sign Nick Robertson to put in Holmberg's spot, or even, Easton Cowan comes out of nowhere, and then you can have a guy like Calle Yarncrook to protect them defensively. I think a line with like Cowan, Domi, Yarncrook, or Robertson, Domi, Yarncrook could be good. But if you need to, I think Domi should play with Austin Matthews. I really just think it's the right move. If you want to get your value from Max Domi, I don't think it's at the third line center spot. I truly believe it's on the first line, and people think that's nuts, but just go back and watch the highlights. Domi was feeding these guys, and it was working, and just keep doing that. If it doesn't work, then you put him down there. Or maybe that's the Leafs thing. If they can get a third line that has a little bit of bite with Domi on it and has some scoring touch, then okay, sure. If it works, that's fantastic. Nobody's going to complain about that. But I just don't want to see Domi get lost in the shuffle, especially because you're starting him, like we mentioned before, on the first year of a 4-year deal that's going to see him get paid almost $4 million. You can't have Max Domi hiding away somewhere. You need to let him show what he can do, and that's his playmaking ability. It's not just the feistiness. It's not just the fighting. It's the fact that this guy can actually feed people the puck. He actually can play the game without just fighting and just being a tough guy. He adds a little bit more value. Him and Tyler Bertuzzi, I thought, did a great job with Austin Matthews last year. I was kind of hoping the Leafs would have enough money to keep Bertuzzi around and keep that line going. But it just, they chose, it was one or the other. It looks like it was one or the other. And to be honest with you, I don't mind the choice. I think that both of them were really good options. I don't think anybody would have complained. It just seems like Domi is a guy that wants to be here. And that's something that I want to say in this video too. There's separation, right? There's the game, there's the fandom, and then there's your personal belief. The game says Domi is a pretty decent hockey player. He's a good hockey player. The guy's in the NHL, but he's a good hockey player. He makes sense for this Leafs team. And then when it comes to the fandom and the personality or your personal beliefs, I personally just have always, like I said, I've been a huge Ty Domi fan my whole life. I have jerseys literally from when I was a little kid, and I even said that when I met Max, who was, by the way, Max was really good to us. He was a really nice guy. And I told him, I was like, should have wore my my Ty Domi jersey. I probably would only get like my left arm into it because it's so tiny. But it's just really cool to see him play with this team, and I know he's happy. I know he's fired up. He's comfortable now. He's playing with the team. This is a guy that's locked into this squad, and I think that that's going to unlock more to his game. And I really think that that's awesome. So if you guys are new here and you love these season previews, make sure to like and subscribe. Join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. Thank you so much for being here. Maple Leaf season previews are on the way. Be ready for a ton of videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.